but it's a let's see. Yeah.
You probably just can't get them anywhere either, can you? Like you can't.
I think just a regular tire company can take care of it.
Oh,
I think that's I read that Tesla for sure, but regular tire companies will do the replacements.
I know.
I don't think it requires it. I don't think it requires special equipment. It's just an unusual tire.
Heavier duty.
Yeah, it's a heavy duty tire.
We've been able to do our tires at Sam's Club. Speaking of Sam's Club, I'll say this right up front. If I could choose to be a Costco member, I would prefer Costco over Sam's Club. But the proximity situation is a little bit out of whack. I'm very close to a Sam's Club, and I'm not very close to a Costco. So
Yeah.
Well, I'm close to
Went
both.
the other way.
I'm close to both, and we had actually we had at the same time membership to both. Just works out that way. We got a free membership for a while, and I prefer Sam's.
well,
But I haven't tried to get tires there yet. But
the thing about Costco is that they seem to have a better labor agreement, and they have a longer term relationship with their employees.
I see. Yeah, there are a lot of people who are anti-Walmart, and that's what Sam's Club is. It's Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people are anti-Walmart, anti-Tesla. Does that make any? I don't.
Anti-Costco.
Okay. Marty hates Walmart, hates Costco, and loves Sam's.
So we know where you go.
Well, actually, for a long time, there are two really nearby Sam's that are 3 miles. I think here is Costco is like 7 miles, so there must be one nearer than that. I just don't know where it is. But yes.
Well,
My computer is being very flaky today.
Are you using a version of Ubuntu or Linux?
No, I'm using Windows.
Oh, well, it might explain something.
Oh.
Windows 10 or 11?
I think it's Windows 8, but I'm not sure.
That could be an issue.
I make attempts to use Linux on this laptop, but for some reason, whenever my wife comes down here and uses it, it ends up being back on Windows.
Oh,
Since it can boot either way, why?
right.
The last Windows machine I had, when I loaded, I think it was 10, the screen went dark, and there was no fix for it.
I don't know that the rumor that Windows 11 runs on a rebranded Linux substrate, but I can easily believe it since Microsoft has officially adopted the use of Linux for any number of things. Windows is actually, most people don't recognize this for some reason. Everyone here remembers using DOS, probably.
Yeah.
Well, DOS is an operating system. Windows is a presentation manager. It's not an operating system. You could pull DOS out from under Windows and put in Unix, and it would still be Windows, because the interactive interface is one of many things that the operating system is doing. So if they move to Unix and it gets better, that means that the operating system that runs the world is Linux.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is the presenter ready with their videos and such? Can we check those out?
The presenter is here and has sent a mail to Stan and David with the list of the videos.
Okay.
I'm out of town on a laptop, so
I guess
I'm not doing much
we may find
other than scheduling.
David, you're remarkably loud, but not incredibly clear.
Yeah, he's overpowering his microphone, I think.
Okay, exit full screen. Now,
Tom, I have your videos. Now I'll be ready to show them.
okay.
What I'll do is I'm going to cut and paste these out of the email into a Word doc. That's my process on this.
That sounds like the inverse of the process of how I put it in the mail.
Let me ask you this, Tom. Regarding Linux, what was the operating system that Oracle used?
Oracle at one time used Unix, but now they use Linux.
I'm only asking that because I know that.
No, this is the big people say Linux is a tiny thing. It's a tiny thing on the desktop. If you go to the big iron, Linux has like 1% of the laptops. It has 99% of the big iron.
You mean like IBM?
IBM, Bell Systems, Amazon,
Now,
Google.
Can I ask a question?
Google, all Linux, various flavors.
I thought that Oracle was a database which would run on any number of different operating systems.
It is. They run it on, they use now Linux. They changed from running on Unix because free software.
Well, I know that Oracle got the contract with the CIA, which, in my opinion, makes them a central player for most everything that goes on in the world.
This is, I don't know if I put, where did that go? I have a video titled, I don't know if I made it onto the list. The secret operating system that runs the world.
Okay, I still got a question.
It's Linux, yeah.
Again, I thought that you could run, God, I've lost the Oracle. You could run Oracle on an IBM machine. You know, there was a version of Oracle that you could install on an IBM machine, or you could install it on a machine that was running, you know, some Unix brand,
Yeah.
HPUX from
Yep.
the DEC people.
Yep.
Okay.
Or
So
Linux.
what?
Or Linux.
Right. But in what sense are you saying that it's always running on Linux?
Oh,
I get
okay.
lost there.
Okay. People forget that there are two parts to, well, there are many parts. The part the human interacts with is a display manager in operating systems class. This is the part that the human interacts with.
Gotcha.
That is one of, depending on who teaches the class, 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 components of an operating system. Windows came out as a display manager for DOS.
Wasn't there an MS-DOS?
MS-DOS 4.5.
Was that in 93, the date?
Yeah.
19...
It was a different display manager, is what Windows is. It had DOS underneath it.
They copied the Apple version of the Xerox PARC project with their windows and folders and this graphic display and mouse situation.
Yeah. So you could, in theory, take a PC running Windows. You have to turn it off, and you could remove DOS and stick in some other operating system that had the hooks for the Windows program to run, and you could run Windows on Bell Labs Linux, Unix, or you could run it on Solaris, or you could run it on any number of things.
Now this is
no one's ever bothered to do that I know of. It's just something you could do in theory.
Now on the Apple side, I think that when Steve Jobs was let go from Apple, he started a company called Next, which was a Unix-based operating system. And then when he got re-invited to join Apple again, Apple switched to Unix for its operating systems also.
Yep. But lots of places who say they are running Unix are now running Linux.
Okay, let me ask you a straightforward question.
Linux is free, and Unix is, depending on who you get it from, between $1,000 and $10,000 a seat.
Whatever happened to Xenix?
It's still there. It's pretty much, has disappeared. It's been a long time since I've heard that name.
Okay.
But it should still be there.
Let's say I want to install Oracle on an IBM machine?
Hardware or
Big iron.
big iron? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Can I, contact Oracle and say, send me the version of, yeah, I'm still taking drifty drugs. Send me the version of Oracle that runs on this particular piece of IBM Big Iron. And I could install it.
No.
And there wouldn't be Linux anywhere there.
No.
No. Okay, explain that. That's where I'm trying to get the information.
An operating system. We're going to move one layer up from the transistors. There's the kernel of the operating system. It's a piece of the operating system. It's called the kernel. And the kernel is a program that talks to other programs. One of the programs runs the disk drives. One of the programs runs the network. One of the programs runs the display interface. One of the programs does file systems. One of the programs does, you've got these 5, depending on who divides it up, 4, 5, 6 things around the kernel. Oracle would be a 7th thing that would talk to the kernel and do its Oracle thing, and then talk to the kernel, and the kernel would take what Oracle gives it and put it into the display manager.
Yep.
There's a party in your computer, so to speak.
Where does Linux come into this?
Linux is the kernel.
On an IBM Big Iron machine?
Yep. Linux runs just, you know about the supercomputers.
The Cray?
The heavy one,
Percentages?
the heavy 100s, the Fuji Gigamonster, the
NVIDIA? HD 100s?
No, I think you've gone beyond me at that.
The top 100 supercomputers in the world
Oh, okay.
Okay.
all run Linux of various flavors.
Okay. Does IBM Big Iron run Linux?
Yes, it can.
No. I mean, in order to be...
It's an option. You have hardware and you give it software to run. You can go to Bell Labs, pay them $5,000 a seat for a license to run Unix, and run Unix on your IBM Big Iron. You can go to I don't know who you would get it from, but I know that there are people that you could go and get a Linux that would run on your Big Iron, IBM Big Iron.
But do you
And
have...
it would be, you can write your own if you want. I wouldn't, but that may be that I know enough about it that I wouldn't want to try and do it.
Well, what is the native kernel that IBM Big Iron builds, or when they create that device? What are is Unix Linux?
It used to be Unix.
Hmm.
Now they use Linux.
Okay.
because they don't want to pay Bell Labs or Berkeley.
Right, and the support you get is worth what you pay for.
Yeah, but you don't. The Linux kernel is pretty solid. There are fights about changes, but there are very few problems in the kernel.
Well, would you say that Linux is open source?
Linux? Yes. Unix? No.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the kind of amazing thing about Linux. It's not proprietary, open source, and yet it standards have been enforced, so that it can be used just about anywhere.
Yeah. Your car's computer? Linux. Your TV's computer? Linux.
Well, according to Jim Farley, there's about 150 different computers in the Ford. That's why they had a hard time competing with Tesla, because they had Bosch had their own operating system or their own computer, and the radio had its own computer. And so when I think both Volkswagen and Ford were complaining about the fact that they, unlike Tesla, because Tesla was under one basically software group, when creating all the software for the entire vehicle, the integration of all that software. I mean, the idea of a Tesla being a computer with wheels is kind of what we're trying to talk about here. And I think that that's why Volkswagen, Ford, and GM have been having a hard time getting their computer system to work quite as gracefully as the Tesla, is because they have to get all of these subcontractors to agree with their modus operandi.
Yeah. When I started in the computer industry, there were probably 100, 1,000 operating systems, and now there probably still are, but Linux has replaced almost all of them because it's free.
And works.
And it works.
If there's anything that has to be done, there's probably only one best way to do it.
And it's the Linux is the secret operating system that runs the world. It may not have the display manager that you think is Linux, but Linux is the kernel. It's not the operating system, and it's not the display manager.
So, Tom, should we consider that you're starting your program?
We probably should. Could I distract us for just a minute with,
Sure.
so to speak, business? I have scheduled people through the month of August.
Yay.
I
Oh,
hope.
wait a minute. It's already August.
Yeah, it's already August. But September is looking a little thin. So if anyone has some ideas, we could use a couple of presenters for a couple of weekends in September.
Could you give us the August schedule?
I could.
When is my presentation scheduled?
Next week, I think. The 16th, didn't you tell me you would be willing to do? All I
That's long
have
ago.
for the month of August is the name of the presenter. I don't have any topics except H. Toms for today.
Okay, just give us the name of the presenter for the rest of August.
Those are listed on each of the dates on Meetup. So, and I apologize, I'm out of town and I'm using a laptop and I have to keep my hand on my headphone plug-in to be able to hear what people are saying. And so some of the time I'm getting it and some of the time I'm not.
Okay, I didn't realize you were out of town. You are managing very, very well in that case.
Yeah, it has Carol for next week. I believe I'm the following week.
And Bob Kaufman, I believe, is the last week.
Yeah, the 5th Saturday of the month.
And then is Stan the first week in September? And I think I'm the 4th week.
Well, you don't have September listed, so
Okay.
I don't know.
Anyway, I have 2 open weekends in September. So any help would be gratefully appreciated. Thank you.
David,
And that's
David,
all. Yes, Lynn.
David, if you think you're the 4th week in September, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that works. Sorry, I was looking at August.
And I won't be here for the first weekend in September. Isn't that like around the 5th?
Yeah, that's the 6th.
Okay. I will not even be dialing in to you wonderful people. I will be.
I will not be here the 22nd or 23rd of September. I'm going to be out in South Dakota partying with my high school classmates.
Well, in September, it's the 20th or 27th. Well, I think we've got August covered, so let's go on with the presentation.
Okay. The future of Linux is basically as long as people want to run it. It has really no competitors, no serious competitors. It is literally free software. The license is free. It's open source. You can take it and modify it. Companies like IBM do, and have their own proprietary version, but they don't sell it to anybody. It has been adopted to run on everything from the Raspberry Pi to the world's biggest supercomputers. It has a number of people who have tried to make money off of it. Sometimes this works. Sometimes it doesn't. The first video in the list is I have tagged as origin story, and it talks about the origin of Linux. Crazy. I think he was in college when he started, but it was early college when Linus decided he wanted to write something like Minix, which is another Unix-like clone, and how it grew.
You ready?
Yep, the origin story of Linux. That's how it started. Somebody was unhappy and wrote his own software. I must say I thought about doing that and decided, nah. Yes, Tom.
I think the important thing, though, is that it attracted a number of other people to contribute to its development. And that's why it grew so fast.
Yeah. When I first heard about it, I thought, what? Somebody actually did that? And that was it. The next video on the list, which I tagged with Untold, the best operating system in the world, is a brief survey of where Linux is. Not really a survey, but it was the best video I saw that showed how much it's being used all over the world.
It seems like Finland leads in computing and also in the homeless situation. They've got a pretty advanced culture there.
Finland is a country I find fascinating.
They have the solution to nuclear waste.
Depending on which of the family origin stories you believe, I might be 1% Finnish. Or Sami anyway, if not Finn.
Tom Walsh.
I'm trying to think about now the future of Linux, and it looks like it's going to be used in a lot of places for quite a while. But what about quantum computing? I'm pretty sure that's not Linux based, and that's going to be a growing thing in the future. So is Linux going to fade?
It's going to be. That's a good question. I did not find any mention of Linux and quantum computing, although I suspect that given Linux's penetration into academia, that the go-to operating system for quantum computing is going to have a Linux kernel.
And here's another question. if
That's a great question, Tom. I don't know.
the other part of the question then is AI. With AI writing its own code, is it going to be rewriting its own kernel? I mean, I think most AI systems currently probably are using Linux as
Yes.
as their kernel, but I'm wondering if that might change in the future also, as AI writes its own code.
AIs have already been used to write parts of Linux. The humans that look at the AI's code have, yeah, you're not smart enough yet. That will certainly come. The idea of having an AI modifying its own code is tricky. That idea has been around since sometime in the 1960s with the language called Snowball. And I wrote self-modifying Snowball code. There are big problems in trying to do that. It is good to have off switches.
Were there any security issues regarding having a Unix or Linux being the single kernel for everything?
There could be. People have tried to, no, people have submitted code to Linux that would hijack it. So far, the review process, which is pretty much run by humans, have always looked at incoming code with a very suspicious eye and said, okay, wait a minute, why are you doing that? No, we're not going to do this. But it's the kernel maintainer list is probably stops an attack every week where someone's trying to put something nefarious into the Linux kernel. Mostly that seems to happen to the resellers. Red Hat has been attacked a couple of ways that way where they've accepted improvements that turned out to be backdoors, I suppose is the way to put it. There are ongoing discussions and squabbles on the kernel development list about we should do this, we should do that, we should do the other. And the default has always been to, that's an idea. No. Because they're a very suspicious group who know what, how can I say this? They know what they're guarding. And
What their what is?
they
What they
know
are guarding.
what it is they are guarding.
Got it. Okay.
And they are very suspicious of especially strangers coming in and trying to make changes. And they look at each other's work with an equal skepticism, especially as you get deep into the kernel. They it's like parents with a child. They are very protective. Some people think they're overprotective. There are big fights between the people on the kernel list about what's the best way to do this. I mean, if you can imagine one child with 50 parents trying to decide what the best way to manage the child is.
Love it.
Lynn,
I'm sure I have never heard of the kernel being successfully attacked. I've heard of attempts, but it hasn't happened.
Tom,
Yes?
is this a good place to talk about the perception that Linux does not get viruses?
I suppose it's a good place to talk about it, but I don't have much to say about it because I have never heard of a successful Linux virus.
Well, that's my point.
Other than the opinion among many non-Linux users that Linux itself is a virus.
Oh, I love it.
I think it's probably very difficult to write a virus for Linux because it is so simple in a lot of ways and so open that when you try to hijack it, someone once said that Linux was paranoid. And in a way, that's true. When you're running, the kernel is running in the background pretty much all the time, and you come in, your code comes in, and I want to change this, and then no, you can't write there. Go away. You can't modify that. That's not in your permission stack. And commercial operating systems tend to have exclusions to following the rules for the special programs. So if you pretend you're a special program, then you can modify, you can insert yourself like as a virus.
You mean exceptions to the rule?
Yeah. And Linux kernel doesn't really have exceptions to the rules. There's right now in the Linux developer community, there's a big argument about Linux is written in C, which is good and bad. It's a language. Not my favorite, but that's beside the point. There's an upstart language called Rust, R-U-S-T, which has lots of advantages, pretty much the same set of advantages that C does, but it requires you to explicitly declare a whole lot of things. Whereas in C, you just kind of make it up as you go along.
Mhm.
This means that understanding a C program is something you have to literally print it out on a piece of paper and follow it along with a pencil, keeping track of what's happening. In Rust, a lot of that information, knowledge, connection is explicitly declared. This makes the program much more verbose. And if you're a C expert, it makes it harder to follow, and you have to do a lot of typing that you don't have to do if you make the change in C. So there's this last 2 years, 3 years, has been kind of an ongoing battle about using Rust in the kernel. Linus has pretty much come down in the favor of, well, I understand, and we can use both. And the C hackers don't like it, except for some of them who think it's better for long-term maintenance because the C's unspoken things are where a lot of the trip-ups are, where a variable in this place is used as an alpha, and over there it's used as a counter, as a numeric. And you can do that in Rust, but you have to declare it. You can't be subtle about this change. You have to explicitly announce that you're going to do this with it. So it removes the surprises. Aha! That's what they're doing. This depreciates, in a way, the collected knowledge of the kernel maintainers who have collected this in their minds, because now it's out there for everyone to see. And so they're objecting to this. And there's, it's an ongoing battle. It's a very quiet battle. I mean, no one's taking up.
So is that internal?
Pitchforks.
Is that internal fighting?
It's I don't know if I would say it was a fight. It's an internal, ongoing discussion.
Well, there's a
With
photo.
with passion on both sides.
There's a photo of Linus with his third finger up. I'm assuming that that's part of his paranoia or his.
That's that's from one of the long-time kernel maintainers in Linus have had a long-standing dispute about something. I don't know what it is. I am not a kernel maintainer. But that image is part of the that you can look back. I think it happened, I don't know, 6 months ago, a year ago. And there's apparently I don't remember the guy's name. He said, we have to do it this way or I'm out of here. And Linus said, we can't do it that way, so you're out of here. And the fingers
No.
were from a video where someone was trying to get them to play nice with each other. And there was name calling and finger waving, and I haven't really heard what, if they have, so to speak, kissed and made up, or if they're glaring at each other and continuing, or what it is. These things happen. There's further down the list, there's a video. Yeah, it's titled "What We Learned from Linus," which is a thing about looking at Linux from the outside as a developer. It's other developers looking at how the kernel maintenance works and how he keeps herd on his collection of penguins, so to speak. Yes, Carol.
Okay, looking at the future of Linux, what happens when Linus dies, retires, comes down with dementia?
Gets hit by a truck?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think that's under dies.
Yeah. No. The it's going to continue.
I'm sure it's going to continue.
Yeah, there
but
is.
your whole herding mechanism,
He has taken vacations and left people in charge, and it is supposedly all set up.
Okay, so he has a designated successor.
He has plural.
Plural. Okay. And is it assumed that they will be able to do what up until now only Linus has been able to do? This herding you're talking about?
This is a good question.
Yeah.
The presumption is that under, I'll say, do we have a Joe? We don't have a Joe. Under Joe's supervision, things will certainly be different, but they will be the same. When the famous chef dies, he can't make the fancy dish anymore. But he will have had helpers who he has taught how to do this, and they will continue to do it. It is a one-man show, but he is aware of his mortality and has set things in place so that he is content with what will happen to his child, so to speak. What the details of this arrangement are, I don't know. presumably those people who will be wearing his moccasins or sharing his moccasins are aware, and they are not talking about that, which is understandable. Because if you knew that Joe was going to be the new Linus, there'd be a lot of people who would be interested in subverting him, so to speak. So it would, anyway, does that answer your question,
Yes, thank you.
Dan?
What's the, I'm ignorant on this topic. What kind of intellectual property protection exists in the coding industry? Is there patenting or copyright for code?
You can copyright code. I don't know if Linux is copyrighted or not. It's oh no, Linux is released under the new public license, GPL. But you are free to modify it for your own use and distribute it.
And make money off it like Red Hat.
Yeah. And they Linus doesn't seem to be bothered by that.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, William.
What if I want to run my PC, Windows-based PC on Linux? Is it possible to download it? How difficult is it? Can I actually open websites, or is it this strictly? I think I have a friend who uses Linux. How difficult would it be for an individual person to switch to Linux?
If you understand computers, it's simple. If you don't understand computers, it might be more complicated. Down the list of things, where is it? The last 3 videos on the list talk about which distribution to use first, or potentially, and your first install, and the process of switching to using Linux. I would say we don't have much time left. Okay. First, let's do the video, what we learned from Linus.
I have one more hand up.
Oh, sorry. Jason?
Yes. I used to be a Windows user, and I made the switch to Linux in 2007. I had heard all the bad reviews about Windows Vista, and I was determined to not be forced to upgrade to it. What I did was I bought a used PC, installed Linux on it, and then took my Windows PC offline. So I gradually learned to do more and more stuff on Linux and become less and less dependent on Windows. And so ever, yeah, and so ever since then, I have not bought. I have not bought any. No, I have not bought any new PCs since then. They seem like a ripoff now because I can get a used one for so much less money.
Mhm.
The last Windows version I'm familiar with is XP. I've tried out Windows 7 and it doesn't seem that different. I never tried Windows Vista. I really hated Windows 8 with the tiling and which I only tried in stores. And I also tried Windows 10 in stores and didn't like it that much better. It seems like uh, any time my mouse passes over something, a bunch of stuff pops up. Whereas Windows XP wasn't like that. It just seems ironic that if you want something that looks and feels like Windows XP or Windows 7, you need to use Linux because Windows no longer makes anything that looks and feels like that. As for Linux distros, I've always preferred lightweight Linux distros. My favorites are MX Linux and Sparky Linux, which are both based on Debian but not Ubuntu. Although I will say, though, that how lightweight or heavyweight a distro is doesn't really matter anymore because the thing that overshadows everything else is how power hungry web browsing has become. There's web pages are designed now so that they yeah, so that they really suck up a lot of computer memory and processing power, and so that has really overshadowed the memory and CPU footprint of DEs and window managers, desktop managers, and even word processing and spreadsheet suites like LibreOffice.
I have posted Tom's video list in a doc file in the chat. And for those of you that know or don't know about how to use this in the chat, you can download that particular file to your computer. But if you save the chat, that won't be accessible. You have to download that file onto your computer if you want it before we stop this meeting. Otherwise, you can save the chat for everything else, but for files like that, you have to download them.
Yeah. Or you can send me an email and I'll send you the list.
Well, when I finish the video on this, Tom, I'll be posting. I always post the video links when I do the YouTube video. Speaking of which, okay. Tom Walsh, do you have the video from the library session? Did you record that session?
Which session?
The library session on the week after the 19th.
Annual meeting.
The annual meeting. I have it. I think David has it. I thought I sent it to you, Stan, too.
Okay, we'll try and find it.
We have it.
Okay.
If
All right, I've got the third video ready to go. Do you want to watch that now?
yeah, I think if you were to start, I would say the thing to do is there's a distribution called Mint with the cinnamon display, and you can go online, find that, download it to a USB, and run it. Reboot onto that. There's the last 3 videos talk about how to do that sort of thing in very good detail. Mint with the cinnamon display is very like Windows. It's not, but it really kind of looks, it'll be very comfortable for you. Okay.
Third video coming up.
When was that talk made?
I think it was 3 years ago, but I'm not sure.
Oh, it says 12 years ago.
Oh, wow.
12? Wow.
Yeah, I was thinking it
Okay,
might not ring so true today.
Here's the 12 right here. You see my cursor?
Yeah. Huh.
Well, I'm not trying. I mean, it happens to me all
Yes.
the time. I watch a lot of YouTube, Tom, and I get the thinking that this is great. Then I say I see that it was quite a while ago, and it doesn't make it not great. It just means that it's in a different time frame.
Yeah.
But I would say that the guy that was going on about the beauty of the Unix, the Linux process, 15 years in the future, he was counting AI in there a little bit, but I think that it's really happening a lot faster than we're ready to keep our hands on the throttle. This business of being able to oversee AI at the level where you can really be certain that it's not taking its own. I mean, I think they've already shown that AI has learned how to lie, has learned how to cover their bad.
Oh, yeah. There's any number of people making hilarious papers out of the AI saying, "Oh, I was wrong," or "I lied." The idea of putting AI into the kernel of an operating system, I find to be a terrifying idea. I'm sure it will happen because someone's going to come along and hopefully it will burn down their house and not the world.
Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, one of the good things about looking at 12-year-old videos is that you can check their capability of prediction.
Oh.
No?
I have an analogy I want to use with the idea of an AI in a kernel. The one thing that I do have some friends that are Bitcoin fanatics, And the one thing they talk about is the, in quotes, originator of the software made it so that there were, what is it, that there's always, there's never any more coins made. They're just always subdivided and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And there seems to be this sort of faith community involved where you have to trust in the fact that this guy's not alive anymore, or that it's a non you can't change. It's an immutable character that's going to be. There seems to be. I get that sort of pay no attention to the man behind the curtain kind of philosophy going on there. Am I?
Yeah.
Am I off on a wild tangent, or is that kind of a metaphor for what an AI inside a kernel could do?
There's no way you could tell what it was doing.
Right.
The Bitcoin thing is supposedly a real hard limit in the mathematics of it. And I looked briefly at it, and it seems to be the case, but I'm not going to guarantee that it is. But I do know that several other groups have started up competitors to Bitcoin. Wanting to be at the beginning of the Bitcoin frenzy rather than at the end. Whether or not theirs will ever take off, I haven't heard.
Well, maybe the other sidekick to Bitcoin being blockchain, as I understand it, is maybe a more important metaphor for Linux in terms of the stability of the Bitcoin is the stability of the blockchain. But there's also the proof of work, which is where the energy sort of gets burned up.
Yeah.
Be going on. I mean, I don't mean to take this Bitcoin thing as a sidebar, but I think it is a fascinating. I'm just seeing it as a metaphor of what's going on with Linux in that community.
Oh no, there is no boundary on Linux. You can make as many Linuxes as you want. You could copy it, and I could copy it and publish it and say it was my version of Linux, and I don't know that I'd be in any trouble. I don't think I'd sell to anybody, because why should I buy it from you when I can get it free from Linux? I mean, it's it's strange to say that the value of Linux is that it's free, but the thing is, it's free and it works. And there are a lot of people whose livings depend on, how can I say this? Windows not working properly, not working the way they want it to. And with Linux, it's just, in a lot of ways, it's just easier. Anyway, I think it's going to be around for a long, long time. The you could make now that you know it's there, it would be a competent programmer could make a competitor and release it. But I don't think it would go anywhere because why? I mean, it would be yeah, you made this thing and that's wonderful, but when are you going to update it? And blah, 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 blah. And so they would go back to using Linux. It's in a lot of ways, I suppose the credit should really go to the people who invented Unix. Or Minix, or some of the other 60 eras operating systems, because in some ways the genius of Linux is that it took the best of a couple of things and put them together in a way that was legal then, and is non-management, resulted in a spectacular growth. Yes, Carol.
Yes, well, you know the story about why Linux, or I'm sorry, why Unix was created. I think this was Dennis Ritchie, and he had been working on at Bell Labs an operating system called Multics.
Yep.
Very big, very beautiful, very sexy, did all sorts.
Oh God, it was wonderful.
Right.
And it didn't work.
And well, what happened was that they cut his funding for Multics. You know, not worth it anymore. And he was actually said to say that the name Unix came from the fact that they had emasculated his
Multics.
Yes. I mean, pronounce Unix and spell it differently.
Yeah.
I find that interesting.
Yeah, I've heard that story before.
Oh, and one thing that, you know, this whole last presentation reminded me of, the guy was fond of giving you Robert Frost quotes. And it immediately reminded me of this one. Only when love and need are one, and the work is play for mortal stakes, is the battle ever really won, for heaven and the future's sakes. Take my paw down.
I have a question for David. David, did you install Linux on your laptop? David?
Maybe he can't hear you.
I think David's not hearing you.
Yeah, David's been sort of, I've been listening from bed. But yeah, David's
a bad sound system.
Yeah, yeah.
He's out of town, so he's on a couple system.
Okay.
And my sound's going in and out.
Oh,
There he is.
Tom had a question for you.
Did you install Linux on your laptop?
I've been using Linux since around 2010. Um, I've got Linux on all of my laptops, and I'm having trouble putting Windows LX. My wife uses Money, and I bought a copy of Money way back in 2003, I think, and she likes it. So we have one machine that runs offline to keep our financial records. But it went down, so I'm trying to recover it.
David, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Oh, okay.
The power went out last night, and when I came down here this morning, that computer was on and running.
A reboot.
Now,
Wonderful.
the
Yep.
the monitor is working. I actually didn't try. Yeah, the mouse is working. Everything is working.
Oh, good.
So if we hadn't been so afraid to turn it off, thinking that it would never come back on again, we would have been fine.
So have you been happy with Linux on your PCs, David?
We've been using Ubuntu and on used machines. I buy them for $50 to $150 each.
Wow.
Actually,
They work,
David, I may have
mostly.
misspoke.
I occasionally have difficulties like the one with the Works program.
By the way, I've had my hand up. Lynn, your headset sounds like you got it in a claw machine or something. There's something very weird about that headset that you're using, but I can hear you. So, yeah, I wanted to, chime in on being robust. I told you guys years ago, the post office before Bill Gates came in and offered them a whole bunch of money. And there was a lot of decisions, but and they used Unix 4 to be specific, which is not Linux.
No.
But you talk about robust, as in unbreakable. Unbreakable. We'd have these machines that would sort all your letters and all that, and the darn thing would tick us off, and there was a boot procedure and all that rigmarole, and I would just. The same machine kept going down, whether it was the operator, who knows what it was. I get mad. I put my foot on this 400 amp three-phase knife switch and go kaboom, and then the machine would go dark. And Unix 4 just loved that. Beat me, whipped me, turned me off. Same thing with TiVo. They mentioned that, that was my introduction to Linux, was when I got into TiVo 25 years ago. The first DVR, well, it's running on Linux, and you could do your own upgrading. You could copy your hard drive. You could transfer it using Linux, and that's where I got into Linux. But yeah, it is so robust. I've actually, TiVo will get confused. It's software. It's hardware. It's software. It gets hung up. Usually, if you just are patient, it will fix itself. It will say, "Oh, I'm not doing well. I better reboot." And a lot of computers will do that, but it does it seamlessly. And I've actually installed a switch because I'm lazy and I have a back injury. So I have this little remote switch where I can power down 4 things. So I can power down my TV if I want to. I can power down my direct TV little tiny box, and I can slam my TiVo if I want to. And if it starts getting stupid, I just give it a BS. Close your ears, Carol. That's a bitch slap in ghetto slang. Yeah. And just boom, power me down. Okay, I'll be good now. I'll come back. And yeah, extremely, extremely robust. It is that.
I first installed Linux on my Amiga's bridge board, but it worked. but I was not very happy with the performance. But the performance problem was more hardware related than software related.
Yep.
But it's hard to argue with free.
Well, that looks
But
like
it's very easy to yell at it.
Yeah.
thank
Well, I
you.
mean, the whole internet is quote free, right? But yeah, no, I get that. But then again, I don't pay Apple every year or 4 times a year for updates on all my devices. When I bought the hardware, the software is free for life, for as long as I live, for as long as these devices live, in perpetuity, theoretically. At some point they no longer support them, but
Yeah.
that's free. That's like you can get 100,000, 3 million mile warranty on a Hyundai. Well, you're paying for that when you buy the car. Say BMW, free service for the first 5 years. Yeah, well, it's built into the price. It ain't free, dummy.
Yep.
Yeah.
The free lunch doesn't usually taste very good, and it's not probably all that not nutritious in most cases.